This TikTok in Japan has everybody wondering what the hell is wrong with the American school system.
Run the clip.
We all have to change from outdoor to indoor shoes as soon as we enter the school, and no, I've never seen any love note confessions in the shoe cubbies, as these kids clean the school from top to bottom every single day. Girls either have to wear their hair in a bob above their shoulders or in a low pony. Definitely no dyed hair, so no anime protagonists.
Oh man, this went viral. Andrew, it has 15 million views and counting. Of course, everybody knows Japan and America are different for a number of reasons, but why does an American teacher going over to Japan, just showing it on video, just hit different?
Japan always putting America to shame as far as the cleanliness and stuff. But anyways, guys, we're going to go through a whole bunch of different reactions. We'll respond to them, and then we'll give our takeaways at the end. Please hit that like button and give your comment in the comments down below. Let's get into it.
Yeah, first comment was like, man, I'm in the Navy. I'm stationed in Japan. I had the choice to send my kids to American school or Japanese school. Send them to Japan, man. They got better discipline. The American kids, they're just coddled. They get effort awards. The teachers are distracted. I don't like it.
Yeah, and then somebody said, yeah, man, you know, my friend's a teacher in America, and it was so crazy. There was a fight the other day. A taser was used, and then they investigated one of the kids, and they found a gun in his backpack.
Yeah, an extreme example, but honestly, that is totally statistically possible in America. Another funny comment was like, yeah, in American schools, you see like poop on the ceiling.
Yeah, so then in American school, if the kids had to clean up after themselves, I think that would prevent them from throwing poop on the ceiling. I'm sure it's happened. I've seen stuff in my public school lifetime as well.
Oh, man, I've seen some crazy stuff. Obviously, it depends on what tier of public school you go to. Somebody said teachers get treated badly. In Japan and Asia in general, the teacher occupies a much higher position in society. And in America, they get treated worse than a fast food worker.
Here's my take, guys. I think that there's so many new jobs in America, and there's so many different ways to make money that being a public school teacher has definitely fallen down on the ranks. You know, I think a lot of the talented people go into finance, entertainment, corporate. Hey, even myself, I almost did Teach for America way back in the day for 2 years. I interviewed for it, but then I went into entertainment and YouTube.
Yeah, I would say anecdotally, Andrew, our parents, and especially mom, was like really into giving good gifts to our teachers growing up because it was like, it is more revered, seriously. Somebody said, you know, we take off our shoes in Quebec too, and basically there was some other comments from around the world, you know, Germany in particular, Germany, Andrew, that's like the Japan of Europe. They were like, oh yeah, like our school system is not as loose as America. It's not strict as Japan, but honestly, it's like somewhere in the middle.
Solid German accent, David.
Somebody said, of course, man, the Japanese, the land of the samurai, the land of the rising sun. We may have been enemies in the past, but I must say, in this day, modern day and age, it is a race to be proud of.
And you know what? That is oftentimes a super, super extreme right-wing talking point that is trying to make the case for a more discriminative and racist society, basically, because they're like, well, Japan's homogenous. Look at how they run things. You need the population to be just one thing.
Right, and I think everybody knows what they're talking about, but of course the takeaway that you're having from it could totally be problematic. I notice on the left, Andrew, everybody knows Japan is very orderly and it's very homogenous, right? But where you take it is up to you. I would say Democrats tend to more focus on the pop culture. They like the Harajuku things, they might like the food culture, they might like the animes coming from Japan.
Yeah, and then someone said, well, you know, actually the schools aren't too bad in America. I mean, we have some really good private schools, but maybe the public schools need some help.
Yeah, someone said, you know, the public schools, they're not exactly the place where you're going to find the go-getters of society. And, man, it's kind of unfortunate that it is that way. I don't know if that's true. I think there's some really good public schools. I think there's some really bad private schools. But I will say that it is true that in public school, they seem more concerned with, like, teaching you whatever their agenda is rather than turning you into the most effective person to navigate modern life. I'm not saying for all, I would agree that public school education in America needs some big reform.
Right. Also, a lot of people were just saying, hey, man, you know, the truth is there's just a huge variance in America. Guys, we have some of the greatest colleges, some of the greatest universities in the world. Everybody wants to go to them, right? But then you can go into any particular inner city and go to those schools and they're in bad shape.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys don't know by now, and I wouldn't even debate this with anybody, America is just a country where they let you have really, really nice things and let you have really, really, really not nice things.
Yeah.
It's just the way we set things up here. Somebody said, I am kind of sick of Japan being fetishized. You fetishize our normal school routine. Then you fetishize our Harajuku culture. Every aspect. I'm not really offended, but it's kind of weird to me.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, considering that America fetishizes Japan so much, we can't be more like Japan. I mean,
no, it's just something we must fetishize from afar.
Literally.
Never for me, but I would like to watch it.
Every single American can point at something in Japan that they like. And I'm not just talking about Japanese girls. I'm saying everything from anime to entertainment to the art to the organization. But then they're like, well, would you like some of the rules that help create a society like that, guys? And then America was like, hell no.
If you get caught with marijuana, you do automatic 2 years in prison.
I just want a Japanese tiger parent.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Japan actually fetishizes America too on a more of a pop cultural level, possibly less societal though, less fundamental building blocks.
The fetish goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Someone said, hey man, Japan isn't all great. Think about the downsides too. They got the suicide rate, the atrocities, the declining population, and not to mention that, they don't even teach their kids about the atrocities because they don't want them to feel bad. Maybe we should stop teaching our kids about the bad things, but I want them to teach the bad things. Because the bad things happen, I don't even know what I feel anymore.
Well, and not to mention, Asians are essentially just strict robots, and they're not creative. So how could they be innovative like America? That's another comment.
Yeah, of course, that is more of a boomer comment. There was also some crazy comments about World War II and the only reason they're able to be so orderly is because we taught them a lesson with 2 little things I don't want to talk about because it's not good to mention them. But I'm just saying we took them to another place mentally.
Yeah. And then there's just comments overall and I think most people agree man, I just wish parts of America could be like this.
Yeah, why can't we clean up the World Cup stadium after we have our matches?
Japan sets just such a good example for the world. Yeah, and then, there's people that are like, man, why don't we just turn back the hands of time and go back to the 50s and the 70s, man? Those were great times. I mean, you don't even need anything past the 1970s. They had trucks. I mean, that's all I need.
And once the hippie Woodstock people got a hold of the liberal education system, everything just was a slow downhill from there, and now it's accelerating. Now the downhill is getting steeper. It was a slow downhill. Now it's a steep downhill.
Well, I'm sorry, sir, but building a time machine is not going to be a viable option.
So let's get into our takeaways, Andrew. Who is to blame? Like I said, guys, by the way, I'll address that last comment. If you hate everything after 1970, you have to hate all the good things too. And that was all the technological advances and stuff like that. And obviously 1970, Andrew, I'm sure it was much greater for some groups of people in America than it was for others, to be fair.
Right.
But I guess who is to blame, right? If people are looking at a messy American school where people are putting all the work on the janitor and they're not listening to the teacher and they're fighting in the hallways, and they're looking at a Japanese school, which, to be fair, guys, really have none of those things, who's to blame? Is it the society? Is it the parents? Is it the timeline? How come Japan gets to be frozen with the good and old 1950s and 60s morals, but America's headed toward post-Armageddon?
One comment put it very succinctly. They said, hey, sorry guys, but culture takes hundreds of years to change.
Yeah. I think the best thing America can do right now is accept that they're running a completely different schematic system. The whole motherboard looks the game is completely different than Japan, but maybe you could implement some things, right?
Yeah.
And you could beta test them on a smaller scale, see if the population would take up with them and see if you could implement them more and more. Maybe.
I mean, out of all the schools in America, why can't you run some schools like Japanese schools? I'm not saying teach them Japanese, but you teach them how to operate and live like Japanese people, at least when they come to school, right? So they're going to do some cleaning. They got the indoor-outdoor shoes. They have to be respectful. The school is super strict. So what if you try this out, you gather the data, and then it's a proof of concept. You can bring it up to the higher ups, the government, and present it to them and be like, hey, maybe we should have more schools like this.
American when you're trying to be cool, but you're Japanese at school.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. Obviously, the societies are completely different. The whole structure is completely different. Everything. There's like a thousand things that are different. I think my major takeaway, Andrew, is that America is sort of like an ice cream shop that has like 200 flavors. And 70% of the flavors are like not very good. And there's 70% of flavors that are good but not great. And there's 70 flavors that are great. But the crazy thing about America is the great flavors are like more expensive. Whereas Japan might be like an ice cream shop that only has like 30 flavors, but they're all like pretty good to great.
Yeah. That's a good takeaway. You know what I just wish people would do if they fetishize Japan is really look into Japan. Really get to know it before you just fetishize all the sensational stuff, right? Whether it's the pervs that are sniffing panties, or it's the disciplined Japanese school kids, or it's the baseball
you're saying
systems.
all these things are actually all anecdotal.
Yeah. No, and everybody's only just seeing these headlines from Japan, but really get to know Japanese culture and delve into it, and then you'll understand it better, and then you'll actually realize what you can take from it and learn from it. Because right now, I just feel like a bunch of people are reading headlines being like, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. Oh, now Japan's weird. Well, I wouldn't do that if I was in Japan. But I'm like, but if you just, I have to actually understand the whole holistic society, and then you can be like, well, okay, maybe we could do this.
What if you get the orderly schools and the self-sufficiency and the independence and the lack of violence, but you have to eat the live octopus?
I don't know, guys. You let us know in the comments down below what you think about all this. Please leave a comment about like what types of things, what type of creative ideas do you have that America could potentially implement, like in a reasonable manner in the school systems out here? What would help? Is it just paying teachers more? I don't know, because that conversation has been going on for decades, to be honest. But anyways, guys, let us know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. You know the Hot Pot Boys, from frivolous to serious to even delicious. We talking about it all. Hit that like button. Until next time, we out. Peace.